Okay.
But if you've seen that clip on Instagram where the guy's like, I'm glad you've dismounted, and then the little monster goes, that's from Vampire Hunter D Bloodlust.
It's like the same exact pacing and execution of a Smiling Friends joke.
Yes.
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 Welcome back to yet another episode of Reel It In Fishing for Favorites. My name is Will.
And I'm Tucker.
He's Tucker. And today we are joined by our friend, Kayla.
That's me. Hello.
Hey, Kayla.
Hello.
Wow.
That's my name.
Y'all are basically like those air horns, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, basically.
That's what I was
Thanks
going
for
for.
explaining the joke.
So happy to be here.
So happy for you to be here, Kayla. How do you know us?
I know you guys from Bible camp.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
About at MSU. No, we went to college together.
Yeah.
Like the other nerds.
Of course.
Who you
Like the other
spoke
nerds.
with.
Exactly. We all went to school together.
We went
Love
to
it.
school together. We've known
Kayla
each
was
other for
in
a
my
long time.
wedding.
I was a member of Tucker's bachelor party.
It's incredible.
We went to
amazing.
Vegas. It was fucking awesome.
And now we're neighbors.
And now we're neighbors. We
Which is
live on the corner
incredible.
from each other.
I know. You still live in my
Your old
apartment.
room?
Yeah,
Yeah.
my old room.
Mm-hmm.
Basically.
Mm-hmm.
Literally.
Yeah.
Not even.
I've slept almost in the same spot that you have slept at on a different mattress.
That's incredible.
Right?
Kayla, would you consider yourself a cinephile?
No.
Okay.
Are you sure?
So I think a coworker of mine recently described me as analytical, which I would not have described myself, but there are certain movies, there are certain even shows, just certain pieces of media that I can get very into,
Sure.
get very analytical about.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of movies out there that I have not seen that people talk about. Like Forrest Gump. I haven't seen Forrest Gump, bro.
You don't need to.
I don't plan on watching
Well,
Forrest Gump, but I haven't seen so many of the basics. I haven't seen a single Fast and Furious movie.
Oh, okay. It was now Fast and Furious. Now we're getting into the real cinema.
Yes.
Exactly.
There's just a lot of things that everybody has seen that I have not.
But that's
kind of
why the idea for this little series was there are movies that you feel like you're supposed to see.
Yeah.
And then there's movies that you find on your own in your own time, and they have something more personal, more like personal meaning or attachment for you than just like, you're like 101 greatest movies to see before you die.
Right.
Yeah, and I think that this is one of the premier examples.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So would you consider yourself a cinephile about any film?
Well, there is this one movie.
Oh.
A friend of mine recently sent out a blast text saying, I want you guys to think about the movie that always just comes back to you. That was when you described it that way. That's what helped me narrow it down. Today, I've brought to you Vampire Hunter D Bloodlust from 2002? 2000 exactly.
2000.
All right. It came out in 2000.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Or as Will said it the other night, Vampire Hunter D : Bloodlust.
Bloodlust. They
Which-
added that to differentiate it from the first film, which came out in the 80s.
Vampire Hunter D.
Vampire
But
Hunter D.
Caleb thought it was
Colon. Like
Bloodlust.
Vampire Hunter D :
Colon.
You really want the colon in
Mhm.
there.
Ironic.
So Tucker and I had not seen this film at all. So we have no relationship with this. Tucker, do you have any relationship with anime films or like films from Japan
Well,
in general?
we're looking at honestly, most of my relationship with anime does come from my relationship with Kayla.
Yes.
Yeah,
I
take
know
the credit.
ball.
Take the credit.
I know ball in anime films.
Oh, I believe it.
Yeah,
Telling you.
Kayla showed me Akira. Kayla showed me Ghost in the Shell, Tekken Concrete.
One of my faves.
We've bonded over Studio Ghibli movies as well, even though those aren't technically.
We took a summer course.
We did take a summer course on.
Macy was in that
Oh,
class
that's
as well.
right.
Mhm.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, it was a dope class.
It was awesome.
I saw Nausicaa in the Valley of the Wind during that class. A lot of the blind spots that I'd never seen before.
Mhm.
Castle Cagliostro.
Yeah,
That's a
you were
great
really on a
film.
Lupin the Third kick after
I
that.
love Lupin
Yeah.
the Third.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lupin the Third is great.
So yeah, Kayla's kind of like my premier person to talk about any kind of anime, manga, comic books in general. Usually we can talk about.
I'm a
Um,
weeb.
Yeah, I believe my relationship is just through Studio Ghibli. Like I'm still trying to branch out and learn more.
Right.
So I'm very excited to talk about this today. How were you introduced to this film, and what is your relationship with it?
So
Yes.
honestly, my relationship to this film is kind of like, I mean, obviously Scooby-Doo movie I also grew up with, but
Totally.
for the amount of time that I've been aware of that film, I have been aware of this film. This is probably something that I've never like talked about with anybody ever, but on my mom's side of the family, everyone watches anime. Everyone grew up watching anime.
Really?
I was introduced to anime like as soon as I was introduced to American media.
Okay.
Period. So Vampire Hunter D, we watched both of the films when I was pretty young. I can't say what age I was when we watched this one, but it's probably the first anime movie that I ever watched. Yeah. And I have
such a
watched it so
serious
many
movie.
times.
Yeah, this is like a sick one to jump
Very
into.
serious. And if you can believe it, the first one is actually a lot more explicit. There's more nudity in it. There's more gore in that one. But we watched that one at the same time. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. My mom was really big on like keeping us from like the sex stuff. But as far as like, you know, like action or gore or anything, she didn't like us watching stuff with curse words. But this kind of thing was not off limits. My mom's a major, like, she's not goth, but she is very like, her aesthetic, what she leans toward is very like that whimsy kind of darker, edgy, any Romanian themed anything. So this was just like right up her alley to show us.
Yeah, this is. I think you described it as a film for the sickos.
A film for the sickos. Did I say that?
Didn't you say that?
I don't think
I
I said
did. I
that.
did put a meme up in the group chat, and it was the sickos that's like banging on the window. It's like, yes, ha ha ha.
Oh, when I said I'm
yes,
going to show
ha, ha."
you this, you were like, yes.
Yes, for the sickos. That's right. Okay, that's how it was. How did you watch this movie? Because it's so hard to find now.
So back then, we just had it on DVD. One of my
Really?
family members still has that copy around somewhere. But even then, like you know, as the internet was expanding, it was so much easier to find online. The last time I watched it before I watched it with you guys a couple days ago was about exactly a year ago. And I just found a version on YouTube. Yeah.
In your relationship with this film, was it through the dub or the sub?
So that's really interesting, right? Because technically the dub is the Japanese version. The original version I just looked was recorded in English, and it was recorded in 1999 before they had finished the Japanese version. So the original version of the movie is in English, which is how I watched it. I watched it in Japanese for the very first time with you guys, and I didn't, you know, we talked about it a
saw
bit.
that there were a lot of lines omitted from the
Yeah,
movie.
so
The subtitles remained, but the subtitles would be played out in silence.
Yeah, so if anybody like watching this plans on watching Vampire Hunter D, I strongly encourage you to watch the original English recording. There are reasons for that, but also when you are watching it with the subtitles and the Japanese audio, you're going to see that there are some lines that are there that are not being spoken. I think that was a disservice to the Japanese audience, but that could have been because there was very little coordination in the time that they were recording the two pieces. When it first came out with the original English audio, they just put the subtitles based on what the English cast was saying. The English cast did a very good job.
Yeah, we got
Very
to see
good job. There is so much more personality in each of the characters, and maybe that's just a cultural thing. You know, when you're understanding your own language, you can actually hear difference in accents and all that. But yeah, the English cast, there are characters who are very like Western, like the sheriff. The sheriff, he talks like this. He says, "What do you mean there's done peel here? What done peel?" But in the anime, or Dee's character.
Yeah.
In the anime, he seems so respectful in these lines that he's dropping to these characters. But when you hear it in English, and he's a little bit snarky. He
has some sass.
He has some sass to him.
Yeah.
Layla's character, especially, I do really like her Japanese voice. But it's a different person. It's a completely different person.
Yeah.
The English Layla she's a tomboy. You know, there's differences in the novel and the movie, but I think the movie, whoever may have made this choice based on the background of the novel, which is that she grew up with these boys. In the movie, she was taken in by these guys. In the novel, which is way, way, way darker, it's actually really messed up what they do.
Have you read it?
I have not.
Okay.
I've read a bit of the first novel, which is what the first movie is based off. This one is based off the third novel, which is like Demon Chase or something like that. Yeah, Layla is, she's a boyish character, and you can really hear that in her English voice. she's like, in the Japanese, she does not speak to Charlotte the way she does in English, where she's straight up saying like, you're an idiot. You're a stupid little girl and you're going to come with me right now. Yeah, she's very, I love her. I love her.
Well, let's dive into it.
Sure.
Let's jump into the captain's log real quick. Give you a little background on this film. So, Vampire Hunter D Bloodlust is a 2000 dark fantasy vampire adventure anime film. The sequel to the original Vampire Hunter D film from 1985. In Japan, this film, which is known as Bloodlust in the States, is just actually known as Vampire Hunter D 2000. It's based off of a novel series written by Hideyuki Kikuchi and is illustrated by Yoshitaka Amano.
My favorite artist.
Yeah.
My favorite artist is Yoshitaka Amano.
Yes, and he worked on the Final Fantasy series.
He worked on Final Fantasy series. He still does the logos for them. He used to do a lot of the main art for them as well before they switched over to using CGI for covers and stuff.
Yeah.
Yoshitaka Amano, he did a lot of the illustrations for the original 80s Vampire Hunter D novels. And he was also the lead art director behind a movie I saw very recently called Angel's Egg, which is also impossible to find online. And I waited for years to watch this movie in theaters. But we're not talking about that movie today. No. Okay. Yoshitaka Amano, though, you can really see his influence in the other character designs as well, even though he didn't technically design them.
There were a lot of times where there'd be a shot in this movie and my eyes would kind of unfocus for a second, and I'd be like, it would genuinely take me a moment to remember that the movie I was watching was animated, because the way people moved was very realistic. The way the lights and the shadows were cast were very realistic.
Gorgeous. The backgrounds are beautifully. I don't know if those are hand painted or what, but they're gorgeous.
Yeah. Well, it definitely looks hand painted.
Mm-hmm.
The animation of this is widely regarded as like one of the most faithful to the original book illustrations and cover art.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason that this film was made was that there was such a large outcry from the Japanese fans of the first film, and the author said that he didn't like the cheapness of how that first film was animated, so he wanted a sequel. He wanted kind of like this reboot so it could match more of like his original intent, which is super duper cool to see. That like it's cool to see like a creator of a piece be so supportive of their adaptation, because I feel like it's not that way now, because studios just have their way and can do whatever they want after they purchase the rights to the film.
Yeah.
It definitely wasn't a matter of technology at the time when the first movie came out.
No.
It really does just look a lot cheaper. That was around the time that Akira came out. And Akira has some of the best animation in film history, period.
Yeah.
Like it's an absolutely stunning movie. The first one is definitely not my favorite of the two, which is why I chose to show you this one instead.
Totally.
Just for how
I'm
beautiful,
so glad you chose it.
Beautifully done it is. And it is personally my favorite story of the two because of the themes.
The illustrations and the animation is inspired by the Art Nouveau movement and Japanese woodblock prints. And it showcases an impressive level of detail and smoothness, with some critics and fans noting it as the peak in traditional Japanese animation due to the high frame rate count and constant motion.
The hair especially is crazy.
So
I've done
beautiful.
a couple of hand-drawn animations, and obviously I'm not a whole studio. I'm not using digital or anything. I don't know if they did this all by hand as well, but it's hard. It is hard to do what they did so well.
Very much
so smoothly. His hair is so beautiful. I want to be him so bad. I'll never be him.
And you can. That's all I have, because this film is kind of small and it's hard to find, and there's not much documented about it, but I'd love to jump into, your thoughts on the movie and the plot a little bit.
You don't really need to know a lot going into the film. The novels were, I don't know if he ever came to a natural conclusion on them or if they were eventually discontinued. I know that distribution of them eventually kind of slowed, maybe even stopped. This is all reading that I did a long, long time ago, back when I was rewatching it as a teenager. But yeah, so it did not spread out the way that I think it deserves. It hasn't gotten the attention from people who do like animated movies, A lot of people just don't know what's out there. I think with the TikTok and with like anime edits and stuff, I see a lot more of it on my page, and I'm always trying to push people to watch it. But yeah, it's more of a cult following type of thing than anything. And I'm okay with that because it's very precious to me, and I'm a selfish part of me likes for those precious things to not get so warped by popularity, if that makes sense.
I mean,
you know?
I definitely get that.
Yeah.
I just wanted to shout out the opening text on screen.
Yes. The exposition.
Yeah, this is to set you up for the movie. The distant future, vampires rule the night, but their numbers are dwindling. With huge bounties on their heads, a class of hunters has emerged.
Bounty hunters.
One hunter is unlike all the others. He is a Dunpeel.
So Dampier is the official
Dampier.
term in really any culture that you look at a half vampire creature. The original movie uses the word Dampier, but I don't know why this is. In the English original dubbing of it, they use the word Dunpeel.
Dunpeel.
Dunpeal, which
And
is
it's
not
supposed to
thing.
be Dampier.
Dampier. Dampier. Yeah. Part
Half
of me
human, half vampire.
wondered while we were watching it if the whole Dunpeel thing might have been a choice in the way that this world is thousands and thousands of years old, and Dee has lived through those thousands and thousands of years. There's actually a really cool piece of lore as to how the world became the way that it is. You know, you see all those like nuclear monsters, and I say nuclear monsters. You see all those monsters and mutants and vampires and stuff. So in the lore, in 1999, in that world, vampires were kind of the 1%, the rich, basically. They were the people in control of everything, and they launched a nuclear war, which basically destroyed society. And what you're seeing is what is the word I'm looking? The fallout, the fallout of that thousands and thousands and thousands of years later. So part of me wonders if it isn't like a regional cultural thing that they call him a Dunpeel versus Dampier, and if that was just a little secret choice.
Is that why
amongst
his
the
name
cast.
is D?
So his name is, it's a spoiler. His name is not D because he's a Dampier, but they might let you go thinking that for a while. Just because it makes sense. It's at the end of the first movie, but it is kind of a little spoiler as to why his name is D.
One of the coolest parts of this opening is the crosses like start crumbling in on each other. Like what a sick opening.
Oh my God.
And the imagery of the mirror that's cracking and everything, like it like what a way to announce your presence, right? And we've seen a lot of really cool vampire introductions, but I think this tops it, honestly.
I think the same thing. The level of detail before you even seen the vampire to see what he can do. The cross is bending, because it implies that crosses do have an effect on vampires, but if they're strong enough, they can just do away with that shit.
Yeah.
The water freezing as he passes. The roses dying as the window opens. It's I don't think any other piece of media has ever thoroughly detailed out a vampire like that without even showing him.
No.
And then when you get later on into the movie, when you get to Carmilla, who's way more powerful than him, way more ancient than him, she can melt the crosses. She can make you see things that aren't there. And she's not even alive anymore. Like,
yeah. We'll talk about Carmela, because I think that was like one of the more surprising parts of like watching this is like introducing her character and learning more about that. But I also haven't seen a vampire movie that takes place in the future like this before. Like the aesthetics are really cool. It reminds me a lot of like What If Dune, but gothic, like gothic Dune.
Love that. Yeah.
And it's such a unique idea. And the fact that it's just been sitting right here under our noses, underappreciated. But these horses, are they mechanical?
I was getting they looked mechanical to me.
The horses are both. They are organic material with mechanical upgrades. Pretty much. These horses are what I'm imagining, the way that, you see a mechanic in the movie, which is one of my favorite scenes.
Yeah.
Great scene. You get a lot of lore from Dee in that scene as well. I think he probably takes an already living horse and builds around it. Alternatively, just puts the organs in once the machine is built, hooks it up that way. But you notice when Dee's horse falls and it breaks apart, you see some spillage, right?
Yeah.
They are both inorganic and organic materials. Very cool. I love the horns.
Yeah. Well, okay, we should note that there's a vampire named Meyer
Link.
Meyer Link. he kidnaps, allegedly, the young Charlotte, whose father hires Dee to go rescue her and gives him the condition, if she is turned, you do have permission to kill her. Charlotte's brother hires a gang of bounty hunters because he doesn't like Dee's style.
The Marcus brothers.
The Marcus brothers. That's who Layla works with. So that's like the general plot of the movie, the thing that like thrusts it into motion.
There's a really interesting piece of another bit of world lore you get with it, which is just, I mean, I don't know if anybody pondered on it when they heard it, but $10 million for a bounty job, inflation in this world is crazy.
Yeah,
that's
crazy.
Insane. And
I wonder what a tank of, what did he say the tank of gas cost? No, he just said keep your money. That's what he said. He didn't even give him a price. But
well, and then the fact that he raised the bounty to
$20 million.
Or $20 million. Yeah. Crazy.
Yeah.
Wild.
I was like, in my head, I was like, what would be the real world equivalent that somebody would pay for like a missing person? Probably like $1 million, right? Yeah. No way, $10-20 million.
Well, and for
some random ass, well-off old
right,
guy,
and that would probably be like the reward, right, for getting for finding that person, not necessarily for hiring a bunch of people to go out and get her, right? You probably would just. This is like a guy who's giving $10 million out to this person, $10 million out to that person.
And he's giving them down payments too. So he's already out a few mil just in the hope that they're going to complete the job.
And he's also like, you can totally kill her if you need to. Like, it's not even like he's like really expecting.
Yeah, this price is based off of the worst case outcome.
Yeah.
I hope. They come across some zombies at some point, right?
Pretty early on.
Pretty early on.
So we meet the Marcus brothers. Yeah, so the
not powers.
The skills of the Marcus brothers, you can tell they've been doing this for a very, very, very long time. They're very well renowned as just a human group of people who go around and hunt vampires. Borgoff is the leader. Also a guy who kind of has a little bit of this going on, but you can't hear that in the Japanese. He's very entertaining. He's got a very gruff voice. Borgoff uses arrows. He's got like this kind of like sling thing on his arm that's really cool, which is how we get the coolest shot in all of anime, in my opinion, which is not when Dee is introduced, but when he is introduced to the Marcus brothers. Yeah, there's a scene where they've just killed all the zombie vampires, and then they go, wait, what is that? And then you hear, it's horse hooves. They're coming down. It's Borgoff goes, wait a minute. Can't see over this hill where you hear these fucking horse hooves coming from. And he goes, right there. Fires this arrow. It does a curve shot, and then D comes up the hill, and horse rears back. He catches the arrow. Kate. And then he lands and he snaps it in half. It is so fucking cool.
It's one of the greatest shots ever.
It is literally like you'll get chills the first time you see it. Anyway, Nolt is the bigger guy with the big hammer because big guys have big hammer.
Yes.
Kyle is the spindly redhead who is very snarky because spindly redheads are often very snarky. And like every spindly redhead character you'll meet, Axel Kingdom Hearts. He has a massive shuriken. It's like a throwing star kind of thing. Oh, okay. That it's probably not an actual shuriken, but that's what I would call it. It's just a big ass windmill thing that he throws around. So, and then Layla?
Yes.
Bad bitch who just uses a big old gun. Any gun. She's good.
And she gets harmed by who exactly? So she is trying to chase.
Like these, Meyer has hired like these mutants to guard him.
Yeah, so up until the point that they get to those mutants, which is the Barbaroi, it is this really old faction of mutants who are for hire for mostly vampires and other mutants. They don't really get hired by people. The spot before where she does get hurt is actually pre-Barbaroi. They're on their way to the Barbaroi and they stop at a resting house, which is this thing that vampires have. Because they used to rule the world, quite literally, are the reason the world collapsed. Yeah. And it's this big glass thing that you barely even see against the background. And that's when she gets hurt because there are defense mechanisms on these resting houses. It starts like, firing shit at them and all that. And she gets injured that way. And that's where she and Dee kind of like stop and start to form a bond based off their similarities.
Yeah.
Is there a romance there at all, or am I reading into things from too much of a Western perspective?
I think when I was a kid, I also got touches of those vibes, but not necessarily in that she was actually in love with him.
Sure.
It might be different in the book. I think it is different in the book. It's a very typical male thing to do, especially in the 80s, where you introduce the strong female character who inevitably does need a little bit of saving, that she is going to fall in love with the gorgeous, irresistible main character. But I don't think that that's the case. I don't think at the end of the day, the movie was trying to push that point. Mm-hmm. From watching it as an adult, I would actually say it's the opposite. I don't think she's in love with him. I think she sees pieces of herself in him that make her feel connected to him. But I don't necessarily think that it's a love story. I think the love story is between Charlotte and Meyer.
Agreed.
And it's gorgeous.
It's a great love story.
It's a beautiful story.
It's surprising.
So sad.
Surprisingly romantic and very, very.
Mm-hmm. That scene on the bridge is also one of my favorites, and that's where you really get to see. That's where Layla really gets to see that this isn't just a young girl who's deluded. Like, no, they're both willing to lay down their lives for each other. Like, they're in love. Definitely. What are you gonna do with that?
It is like such like a gothic love story to the proportion of like Guillermo del Toro levels, I'd say. For sure. Where it is a little bit, it does feel like the good version of like monster lover fanfic fantasy. Like
yeah. Who doesn't? I mean, and all of the characters are, especially the vampire characters, are beautiful. They're gorgeous.
I know.
They're supposed to be that way.
Yeah, everybody be hot.
They do not stray from the trope of vampires being exceedingly beautiful, ethereal creatures.
They should never do that.
They shouldn't. And ever. The only vampires that aren't ethereal are the zombie vampires.
Okay, so those are vampires.
Those are vampires, yes.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
I'm not sure on like the lore of like how they're different.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. The goons that he hires though,
mm-hmm.
I want to get into their powers because they're, what would you call them?
I would call them powers.
Yes,
these
people have powers.
Yes, because these aren't humans. These are mutants. These are like I mentioned before, the nuclear fallout in the 1999 nuclear disaster in the world of the movie. Inevitably eventually led to the warping of both people and animals and creating what became, the beasts that you see in the show.
One of the Barbaros, she's like a tree person.
Caroline.
Oh,
and
yes.
Then there's
nice
the
Caroline.
Nice Caroline. Very nice.
Ben.
A little crude but effective.
It's a great line.
That's Bengi. Bengi is the Shadow. He is that clown-esque character that you see who can turn into Shadow.
Very, very cool.
Very scary.
Very
too.
scary.
I think he kills the first Marcus brother, Noel, through the shadows.
Yes. And I think we were saying that he looks kind of like like very much out of like Twilight Princess-esque. Yeah.
Bengi.
Scary.
Bengi is just like, his face is, he's a spooky little guy for sure. Yeah. He does the most speaking out of the three, and I would even say he'd be their ringleader if they had one.
Okay.
Caroline she can change the material of her body into what she's touching. So you see she turns into steel when she goes underneath their vehicle, and she like ruins it that way. She can turn into trees. And then there is the last guy who's what is his name? I forget. They do say his name. He's a werewolf. Love the design towards the end of when you see him, where the wolf is now coming out of his stomach.
Yeah.
Instead of him just turning into a wolf. It's very unique. It's very original. That character is something I didn't mention while we were watching it, but again, with the English voices doing a really beautiful job of fleshing out these characters without having to explain anything to you. At the scene where Charlotte's coming out of the carriage to get some sunlight, and he's feeding the horse, or he's watering the horses. He says, well, the horses are done watering. And then in the Japanese version, he just takes them back over. But in the English version, he goes, come on. And you can just see in that one moment, that this guy, who is a animal himself, kind of, is actually really gentle with animals. Like, yeah, no, it's just, that is something that I picked up on as a child. That's something that stuck with me as an adult. That one little tiny bit, you can tell that this character, this Barbaroy guy, out of the three of them, is not evil. He's not even, you can even see in his interaction with Dee, he's not an evil guy. He's just doing his job. He was hired to protect the carriage, and he probably believes in that.
Yeah.
You know, he probably, out of the three of them, is doing this job less for the money and more for the principle of the job, which is getting these two people to where they need to go safely.
Yeah. The little Romeo and Juliet love story.
Yeah. I love that wolf character. I forget his name. Damn. But no, I love him. I just feel like he's got to be a good guy, actually.
Yeah. Oh, persuaded by money, and which you probably would have to be at this, at this time. Everything is costs so
milk
much.
Is $30 a gallon, probably.
So you get into a lot of the politics whenever you meet the horse, the guy who fixes his horse, and he speaks up and talks about how
Garusha, I think, is the name of the town.
Yeah. How Dee was a part of, or came through that town at one point and saved his life.
Decades and decades prior.
Which is really, it builds this world so clearly. And I'm just learning so much from the mythology about this world just from talking to you, and how much there is expanded throughout it that you don't get from the film. Which is really cool to see.
Yeah. Dee himself, like, obviously he came through that town like decades before. And you see at the end of the movie too, he circles back around to a place he's already been, kind of thing. He's traveled the world dozens and dozens and dozens of times over. I read this a long time ago. I don't know if there's any new information or if it's accurate or if it's ever been confirmed. Dee is supposedly, like, his age is not confirmed in the novels or anything, but there's some suspicion that he's like over 10,000 years old. Yeah, so all these like really ancient vampires and shit that you see, Dee's like the same age as them.
Wow.
He's been around the block.
Interesting.
Yeah. I actually am not clear on if Dee was born after or before the nuclear disaster.
Okay.
I think it was after.
Interesting. Who's Camilla? Or Camila?
Carmilla.
Yeah.
Who is she?
What's going on with that?
What's her deal?
So Carmilla, as far as I know, only ever appears in this novel, in this movie. Carmilla is from the old world of vampires. Carmilla was probably around before the nuclear war, based on the way that she speaks about how vampires used to rule the night skies and vampires used to rule the world. Like, I can imagine that she's ancient. She was killed by Dee's father because it's kind of implied through the lore of Dee himself. You don't really get a lot of information around the nature of his father necessarily. You would if you read more, I'm sure, if I read more anyway. But Carmilla was way too bad for Dee's dad, who is cited as the vampire king. She was just pure fucking evil. And Dee's father obviously had a soft spot for humans, considering he has a half human son.
Yeah.
Was in love with Dee's mother. Dee's mother was in love with him. So they kind of humanize the vampire king without him really being around. I don't think it's ever confirmed early on in the novels if Dee's dad is actually even dead or not. Like, he might still be around.
He might be around. Cool sequel.
Okay, yeah.
Well, there's like a lot of books.
There are
a lot of books. Yeah, that could viably be adapted. Maybe the manga might have gotten adapted into an anime at some point. I don't know how far along the manga went. I didn't really read it as a kid because I wasn't a super huge fan of the art style, but I think they could get over that now.
It's very big of you.
Yeah. Well, as an artist, the artist who did the manga is much more talented than I am. Let me be clear. And was much more talented than I was at the time that I first discovered it was a thing. The last thing I really wanted to talk about was the theme of the movie, why I like this one more than I like the first one, why I opted to, not just because of the animation.
Right. Because you said there is a scene in which it clearly states the theme of the movie.
Yes, it was one of the instances where the dialogue did not match with the Japanese dubbing of it. So you missed out on that piece of dialogue if you were just a Japanese viewer watching it. And it was a line where Meyer says to himself, he says, when vampires are gone, who will mourn us? Will she? Will anyone? And you see it with Dee's conversations with Layla. Dee, I think, is a character that you're not supposed to be able to relate to. Dee is the epitome of, even if he wanted to bring people closer to him, he could not. He lives a lifestyle. He was born in a way that does not allow him to do that. And through him, you get to see Layla learn the lesson of the movie, which is that what will people remember of us when we're gone? Will anybody remember us when we're gone? And do we have the ability to affect that? If Layla had spent the rest of her life doing what she was doing with the Marcus brothers, she would have died too. She almost very well did. She starts the movie off still pursuing revenge based off the death of her family. And in the process of it, she loses her family again. And that's when she finally wakes up and realizes, I don't have to live this life of loneliness, of constantly pushing people away. I see somebody here who doesn't have a choice, and I do. I have a choice to live a happy life instead of pursuing revenge. I have a choice to be remembered when I'm gone, which is what was important to her. And at the end of the movie, Dee comes around and he sees there's a point where they make a promise to each other to bring flowers to the other's grave, whoever dies first. And she dies first because she grows old. And Dee meets her granddaughter, and he sees that she has a very large community of people who brought her flowers to her grave. It's just so touching.
Gorgeous ending.
So touching. Beautiful, beautiful ending. And it ends with the best line from my favorite voice actor in the goddamn movie is the guy who plays the hand. Where he's like, oh, you're not so bad anyway. You're just dressed bad. That's the end of the movie. It's so good. It's so good.
Yeah, I didn't shout out that Dee has the face of a really old, scary man on the palm of his hand.
That was, so there was some experimentation done on Dee before he went bounty hunter, and that hand is a result of that. It's a symbiotic parasite.
Oh, good.
He was not born with that hand. It was
good.
Given to him. There's also a really good line you don't get in the Japanese. I think I showed it to you guys, but when he's leaping off the carriage and he pushes his hand on the ground to stop him, he goes, my nose!
Kayla, what would be your double feature for this film?
So I do have a couple options as well. Okay. So first option, which is the most realistic one, is Shaun of the Dead. Shaun of the Dead. Okay. We're gonna lift your spirits while keeping the undead theme. Yes. Shaun of the Dead was also a movie I considered bringing to you guys for this. I love any Simon Pegg and Nick Frost movie, honestly, but Shaun of the Dead's my top. For sure. Alternatively, I was gonna say Angel's Egg, which recency bias. I gave that movie a 5 stars. It is, it's also much of the character design for the main 2 characters anyway, and a lot of the art was done and directed by Yoshitaka Amano, who we've already spoken about with this movie in regards to this movie. Not that I think Yoshitaka Amano worked on this movie necessarily. I don't know if he did Dee's main design or if Dee's design was just pulled from Amano's
pulled and inspired, like it was more inspired by his work rather than replicating it.
Because he was one of the original artists for it. But yeah, Angel's Egg is very similar, I think, in visuals. It's a gothic sort of feel. It's very, very somber. It's themed around dreams and empty dreams, and it is truly one of the most amazing works of animation I've ever seen in my life, and I'm so glad I got to watch it. But if it were doable, if maybe they release it on a streaming service, because they did just recently dub it, I would strongly recommend doing that as a double feature as well.
Are you able to watch that anywhere?
No, they just recently did a theatrical release, which is how I took Brandon with me to watch it. We were going to see Wicked 2. That fell through. And then I was like, fuck it. Let's go see Angel Egg. You're coming with me.
Wow. That's so cool.
Yeah. I'm just so glad I got to see it.
Tucker, what would your double feature be?
I would do a triple feature of Robert Eggers' Nosferatu.
Good.
Vampire of 100D, Bloodlust, and Guillermo del Toro's Frankenstein. So you get
nice
the
sandwich.
Monster Fucker trilogy.
The Monster Fucker trilogy.
Yeah.
That's good.
I'm going to go the opposite direction with all this.
Good.
I'm gonna do the kind of similar misunderstood monster type thing. I'm gonna do How to Train Your Dragon, the original.
Wait, misunderstood monster. Penelope.
She got that nose.
She got that nose.
She got that nose. What that nose do?
Oh my god.
But yeah, I think this is just a heavy film, and this is something that just lifts you up a little bit lighter, and I don't know, it's also beautiful to look at too. It's another shining example of animation from Western. But yeah. Any songs or style of music that you wish you heard in here, like a needle drop?
No, honestly, I can't believe I didn't already mention this. I think that the sound design from the original English dubbing, with all the characterization and all the filling and how natural it all just feels and sounds, combined with the soundtrack that is already on it, is amazing sound design.
Yeah,
absolutely gorgeous. That part where they're crossing the bridge, and you just hear ooh, da, 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 da. That shit plays in my brain randomly, like sticks with me. The score is awesome and it suits it perfectly. I would not ask for anything to take away from that. I think if you were to add any kind of modern sound to it, it would just, that'd fuck it.
You know, shout out to that one little monster when he goes into like the tunnel and goes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a clip that I actually recently saw on Instagram. I'm like, okay, so, and it had like, 20K likes. Okay, so I'm glad the people are seeing.
People like it.
But if you've seen that clip on Instagram where the guy's like, I'm glad you've dismounted, and then the little monster goes, that's from Vampire Hunter D Bloodlust.
It's like the same exact pacing and execution of a Smiling Friends joke.
Yes. Yes. That bit, and then the bit at the beginning where Borgoff shoots that zombie from around the hill, and he goes, oh! My sister and I would crack up at those parts every single time we watched it. Didn't matter how many times. So good.
I think we could have got the Harlem Shake somewhere.
You're right.
With all those those characters there.
I take it back. The needle drop I want to see is the Harlem Shake.
Do the Harlem. I was gonna do.
Most movies could be better if they had the Harlem Shake. That probably would fix the pacing issues.
It just didn't come out in time.
No, it didn't.
That's why.
They didn't do Led Zeppelin. Some Led Zeppelin would be good in there.
Oh yeah.
Like
Ramble On by Led Zeppelin. Great song.
Or if you want to do some modern, do like Greta Van Fleet, which is basically modern.
No, you know what would have been cool as shit is when they were getting out of the Marcus Brothers were getting out of their little car. You just hear sweet emotion, and then they get out and they start fucking up. It's like sweet emotion. That actually could have been pretty cool.
That would have been dope.
And it also would have been
there's like a weed like emitting from the wagon when they get out.
The smoke.
Shaggy. And then Shaggy steps out too. Well, Kayla, thank you for bringing out this masterpiece.
I'm so glad I got to show it to you. I love showing it off.
Oh my gosh, please continue to share it. And I'm glad that we get to share it with people too.
Bro, y'all ever want to talk about an anime movie again? I'll pull another one for you. I'll pull another masterpiece, and it's not going to be Paprika.
Thank you again.
Thank you.
We'll see you in a couple weeks for another episode of Fishing for Favorites. Until then, Kayla, we love you.
I love you too.
Thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah, thank you.
You're so very welcome. Thank you for having me.
And we love movies.
Oh, yeah, me too.
Bye, guys.
Bye.